Hello, hello. I don't know if anyone is here, if they can see me. Let me know in the chat if you are around. Okay, perfect. Great. Well, good. I am glad I can read the chat. So, thank you all so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed the keynote and the amazing wait music that I have stuck in my head, and I'm sure you all do too. Today I'll be presenting what we're calling marketing at the speed of change, the pivotal role of marketing ops in the next normal. My name is Aubrey Morgan, and I am the Director of Demand Gen and Rev Ops at Syncari. I've been in the ops space for about 10 years now and have seen quite a bit of transformation in that time. So it's an absolute honor to be with you all today. Oops, let me just get this going. All right, great. Already did that. Okay, so this is the essence of what we're going to be talking about today. This is a quote from McKinsey on kind of predictions for 2021 and beyond. The COVID-19 crisis has created an imperative for companies to reconfigure their operations and an opportunity to transform them. To the extent that they do so, greater productivity will follow. So what are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look back about a year and a half ago, and I'm sorry to go back to this time, but we really started to come to understand COVID's long-term impact about our marketing programs. There were abrupt market shifts, budget, headcount, resource cuts, face-to-face marketing channels were eliminated. We were working 100% remote. And then you add expanded buyers needs, little to no data to back up hypotheses for these unprecedented events. And all this change then caused our workload to increase. And I'd argue that one team in particular felt the brunt of this, and that is marketing ops. How many of you here are in marketing ops? Feel free to shout out if you're in other teams also, let me know. So yeah, let's talk about the impact of COVID. So the world we operated in before, and these are some terms I'm going to be using throughout, is the world we operated in before is called the old normal. It's been nearly 2 years now, and we've been living in our new normal. We had to operate out of necessity to first stabilize operations, and then we blasted off into this exponential shift toward digital transformation. We started embracing platforms, we've integrated data sets, we've built collaborative tools, and we had to also create this infrastructure to make it all happen. It's been a huge leap for tons of marketing teams. And for most of us, and I know I can speak for myself, but we were headed in this direction anyways. But COVID kind of forced our hand. We essentially experienced over 3 years of transformation in the course of 2 months. And now as we move forward, what we're calling the next normal, we're shaping the future of the workplace, which is looking increasingly like a hybrid or full remote model, hence where we are right now. And it's enhancing, we're going to have to continue enhancing customers' experiences and deciding what societal efforts we want to carry forward. The truth is, we're not going to be going back to the old normal. And while many marketing-led innovations have garnered attention for their nimbleness and agility, what has gone less examined is how marketing functions are actually operating better in the midst of mass acclimation to remote work and virtual events. Shout out to RevCon. It's going to continue to be a lot of trial and error to find best practices in the next normal. That being said, I would like to also talk about what we're already seeing. So historically, if we go back, we can see, we're moving from consumer behavior that was highly linear to a sales process now that is highly nonlinear. What do I mean by that? So as you think about the proliferation of SaaS outside of technology, your post-sale personnel become debatably more important than the initial prospect engagement. Not only has the sales process fundamentally changed, but it's also become more digitally oriented. Here's a stat for you. According to Gartner, 44% of millennials prefer no sales rep interaction in a B2B purchase setting. This has become prevalent in a trend that we're all knowing now as product-led growth. And that has been highly successful for many of the, the most recent IPOs that we've seen in the last few years. As baby boomers retire and millennials, which are the first digitally native generation, mature into key decision-making positions, a digital-first buying posture is going to become the norm. So as we look ahead in the next normal, you're looking at the lifetime value of the customer, and you require this ability to deliver continuous high-value experiences across a range of digital and analog channels. This means that marketing is involved in every step of this process. And at the end of the day, the customer does not distinguish between sales, marketing, customer success, etc. They want to engage with the organization when they want, the way they want, for whatever particular need they have in that moment. So customers just don't have the patience for disconnected experiences, especially when they're receiving personalized, unified experiences elsewhere. So net, in order to prepare our selling organization to succeed in the next normal, business leaders are going to have to be highly data literate, understand their tech, understand their customer, and make the right bets on the right technology players and platforms. And they're going to have to integrate data and insights as a top priority for their go-to-market strategy. So, let's talk about data for a second, because I think there's, a lot of what we'll be hearing, I'm sure, all the course of today is going to be somewhat related to data. And the good news is a lot of us have a lot of access to data today. And let's talk about big data for a second. It's been around for, about 15 years now. And at the beginning, it was this huge revolutionary shift for digital business. You're aggregating a bunch of customer data into a big data lake. And if you have a trained data scientist, they can go in and extract those magical insights that you or the executive is asking for. That's the perfect scenario. But today, we don't just have data sitting somewhere in a faraway data lake purely for analytical purposes. We actually now are in a place where we want the business to react in the moment to what the data is telling us. So you have data coming in from customer success, marketing campaigns, product, and we want to be able to stitch these together and recognize when patterns are happening with customers and be able to take action to them rapidly. And so there's been this emergence of ops functions, sales. I mean, we've seen this before COVID, sales ops and marketing ops, but now even RevOps, which is increasingly important to growing businesses. They're harnessing this data and helping the organization be able to respond to this data much more quickly. In fact, so many teams are taking this data in different ways. It's presenting a whole new challenge. Now we inherently run into data mismanagement and chaos, which is why we're having this discussion today and why truly Syncari exists. Hey, Asia. So, Syncari is a data automation company made for sales, marketing, customer success ops. And while I know I work at Syncari, but I actually use this product firsthand. And we wanted to build a unified view of our customer and to be able to respond quickly to data in real time, no matter where it was coming from. Because as I mentioned earlier, customers don't care if they don't care about if it's customer success or marketing or sales. They just want a great experience. So what we were able to do, and where this is an active project right now, is we've actually pulled together all of this data into a unified view. Right now that lives in Salesforce because that's where I am accessing the data, and this has been the initiative that I have been running alongside our customer success organization. And so we're pulling in financial data from our ERP, which is NetSuite. We are pulling in service project data, which right now is living in Google Sheets. We will be pulling that from Gainsight very soon, including product data. And then we have, native Salesforce data, our QBR details and opportunity information as well. We have support data from Zendesk. We have escalations and engineering data from Jira, and then of course, marketing data from Marketo. So all of this, and then on top of that, we are sending out alerts via Slack so that we get the real-time insights. Our CEO is very invested in our business and our customers. So we love to share those insights in real time as the most important critical issues are happening with our customers, or positive things like a closed-won opportunity. So in reality, our unified view, when we aggregate this data into our CRM as a starting point, as I mentioned before, this is the place where everyone in our team has complete and total access to understand what's going on with the data. We've pushed this applicable real-time data into Jira, Zendesk, and Google Sheets where appropriate. So what we call this is decentralizing that data. You're hearing a lot of single customer view, but in reality, you want to be able to access the right data about the customer where applicable. So we also have this data, although not all of this data, in Zendesk or Jira, because where people are accessing that information, they don't necessarily need all of these details. So all of this came together, truthfully, in a matter of weeks, and we've had big dreams to continue building. Just a couple of things that are on our plate moving forward is we're going to be pulling together a calculation of customer lifetime value between marketing, sales, and customer success. We will be building out order form generation automation. We're going to be syncing subscriptions, plan and invoice data to NetSuite, and we're going to also start doing product-led emails. So there is kind of this, we hear a lot of product-led growth, but I actually like to think of this as customer-led growth. There's a little bit of sales incorporated and product as well. And I do think that this really helps us build out the foundation of our customer journey. And so, Syncari for marketing ops specifically, as a marketing / rev ops function myself, when you have data that's accurate and available, you're more likely to reach the right person in the right place at the right time. I actually came from integration before Syncari, but I know that there are a lot of players in the data integration, data sync space. Why Syncari is different is that, in addition to being able to unify your data from all these various sources, you actually get to clean and enrich and sync that data back to the systems where the teams need to access it most. So when we talk about a unified view of your customer, we really mean at every single field value, you have complete and total trust in the quality of that data. And those are based off of a combination of your business logic as well as Syncari's recommendations into data quality. So as you think of growing, Syncari is actually a really awesome platform to gain control of your data and then push that back. And what we call that is what we call that distributed truth versus single source of truth. And truly, it's empowered me to do my job better and automate the work I don't want to do, truthfully. And there's so much more to come. So if you're curious to learn more, and I can actually send a link in the chat here, which is just syncari.com/RevCon. 21. But we have recently published a new ebook alongside RevGenius. I see Asia's in this channel right now. She was a huge help in pulling this data together and surveying over 100 ops pros and C-level executives on confidence in their data. And we aggregate all of that information, and then we have clear recommendations on how to gain control of your data. I think that you'll find that some of the insights here may not be shocking if you're in ops. I think some executives may be a little bit shocked at how much manual work goes into data automation. And so with that, I think I will close out my portion, but I am happy to take any questions with a couple. I think I have a few more minutes left, if that's right. So if anyone has any questions, I'm here. We also have a booth at, I don't actually know the logistics of the booth, but I feel like everyone else will be, well, you'll probably know, but come to the Syncari booth. I will be there, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have as well. Also, I have a session later today alongside Rosalind and Jeff Ignacio, and we are going to be talking about how to become a more strategic ops pro. So that's going to be exciting. And I look forward to seeing some other sessions as well. Oh, and yes, we will be at the booth at 1 p.m. Sorry. Alrighty. I love seeing Trish and Asia on this thread as well. Any question? I'm just going back through the chat to see if I missed anything. I see Jessica. Oh, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Alexis. Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, with the 3 minutes left, I will tell you how I built the record page. So we actually, I should have had some slides here, but we actually were able to pull in, I mean, I guess this kind of comes from here, but I'm happy to actually showcase what we built with the Syncari pipelines. I guess I kind of cut that out because I wasn't sure about timing. But we are able to pull in this data through what we call pipelines on every single field. We are also, we have other things in here that I guess I'm not showcasing here, like lead to account matching and lead routing. You can, I know that this is a unified view across many different systems, but we actually started just with Syncari data, I'm sorry, just with Salesforce data. And just, building out workflows from Salesforce back into Salesforce and alerts and things like that. So that's also, because I was kind of kicking off this initiative that, I always recommend starting with something that you can tackle first with, like, if you're working in Salesforce or you want to just sync Jira to Salesforce, start there, be successful there, and continue working out. And like I said, I'm happy to showcase what the pipelines look like. This is completely code free. And it was pretty easy. I mean, there's obviously some business logic that you add to it, and it requires a lot of brain power to put these processes together and make sure that you're working with real data. So and yes, I see a question. Syncari equals Zapier plus reverse ETL. Yes, generally correct at a very high level. That is correct. I think there are less restrictions. So Zapier, you kind of get like out of the box integrations that are very, very restricted and very tactical. I think that the world is your oyster with Syncari. Literally, it's almost like, okay, well, what do you want to do, and then you can build it. And I think with Zapier, I think what's great is that you can do one little thing, but that's it, right? Or you have to kind of configure it and figure out how to grow that. And I think Syncari is a lot more robust and powerful. And we are releasing some really exciting new features as well with Syncari. So I look forward to showcasing that as well. Yeah, and thank you all for joining. I have 20 seconds left, so I don't, but yeah, feel free to meet us at the booth, and I look forward to chatting with you all there. Thanks again.